I don't know if I like that. Another great week for our orange-haired Hellcat from Planet Awesome. Latest Fox News poll shows 39% of GOP primary voters support Donald Trump. That's an 11-point jump since November, Joanne, if you can't do math. And then, killer of journalists, Russian President Vladimir Putin paid him a very nice compliment, which is kind of a big deal because Putin hands out compliments as often as Bernie Sanders trims his ear hair. Vlad said Trump is bright, talented, and the absolute leader in the presidential race. And then Donald Trump was asked about it on another network, MSNBC.
Do you like Vladimir Putin's comments about you?
Sure. When people call you brilliant, it's always good.
Again, he kills journalists that don't agree with him.
Well, I think our country does plenty of killing also, Joe. So, you know. There's a lot of stupidity going on in the world right now, Joe. A lot of killing going on, a lot of stupidity. And that's the way it is.
This is so amazing. Tucker, I have a theory that when Joe said, you know, that he kills a lot of journalists, Trump thought that was a good thing. He was like, oh, so you agree with me.
This is yet another Trump remark that horrifies everyone in our world, but that the bulk of the country agrees with wholeheartedly. I mean,
but it is wrong.
I'm a journalist, but look, here's the best part.
Barely, Tucker.
Here's the best part about the Trump phenomenon is it has awoken the rest of us to the fact that the country we lead doesn't agree with us at all. Everyone in the press, everyone in Washington, the leaders of both parties in the Congress, they have this mind picture of their voters, especially the Republicans, as people who are, you know, pretty libertarian in economics, kind of evangelical on the social issues, neoconservative on foreign policy. That's where they are. That's where the Wall Street Journal is. That's not at all where their voters are. At all. So every time Trump says something that horrifies them, they expect his support to evaporate. When he said we need a temporary ban on Muslim immigration to this country, his numbers not only went up by 11 points among Republicans, they went up by 2 points among Democrats.
Yeah.
So this is yet another wake-up call. It's not the country you thought it was, and it's not because you're terrible. The people who run this country are short-sighted, clever but not wise, greedy, not rooted in this country, the long-term success of this country. They're horrible. So, of course, you get Trump.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know, here's why. This is something that blew my mind, Madge, when he said America does a killing, too. That's the same thing that Noam Chomsky says. It's the same thing that Howard Zinn, Oliver Stone, Glenn Greenwald. Yeah. It's the argument that the left has to justify terrorism. Yeah. He almost said the most left-wing thing you could say. Sorry, Jessica.
Oh, Glenn loves me. I mean, these guys. So actually, there's a word to describe this. It's called populism, and it can apply both to people like Donald Trump, and we have our very own in the United Kingdom, about whom they say exactly the same thing. That's Jeremy Corbyn.
Oh, Corbyn.
Oh, Corbyn, who's just won the Labour leadership. He's the leader of the Labour Party, and people say it's because no one was representing that voice out there. That's true. Actually, my view on Trump is actually, if you go to, say, some obscure YouTube channel, right, and you look at the comments underneath, and you see all those trolls that are on those comments, right, imagine those comments come to life, and that's Donald Trump. He's like a person that comments on these on social media and just says whatever is on his mind with absolutely no filter.
He's like, to me, I see him as a roast comic on tour. The same way, where it's just like he sees stuff and he says it, and because he's getting a response, he does it more, and it's like a thing. It is like commentary with an audience.
But until you then headline your own show, the behavior changes, and I really do think that Trump, the candidate, is very different from what Trump, the president, would be, and I think that you're going to see a lot more leaders who, at that time, like Putin, would speak favorably of Donald Trump, because once you talk to the man one-on-one,
as you have.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Wow, I have. He really, it shows why he is such a successful man. He knows how to make other people feel important. And I think that every leader wants to feel that way.
Do you think, Jessica, Putin is playing him because he flattered him and he knows that flattery is...
Yeah, I think so. Michelle Field said this. She said this is like the ultimate trolling of Obama.
Yes.
What Putin has just done. He's been like, you've been trying to play nice with me for like 7 years, and I'm just going to go right to the guy that you hate the most and say that I think he's fantastic.
Right, yeah. It's like hanging out with an ex.
Totally.
You know who loves Trump? I bet you my car that Bill Clinton secretly loves Trump.
Yeah.
He's watching. He called for him to get in at the very beginning years ago.
He did.
But I bet you $1,000 he's on the road in a Four Seasons somewhere watching television, cackling to himself.
But an extra $1 on the fact that he called up and said, "You leave my wife alone." So it only goes so far.
Hey, Kat, Donald mentioned Putin's polls. He says, look, he's very popular with the Russian people. Do you think those polls are legitimate?
I don't think it has anything to do with it. They're not legitimate. But the only reason that he likes him is because the only reason he likes Putin is because Putin likes Trump.
Yeah.
And I like people who like me. They're my favorite. I get it. But at the same time, I understand that sometimes I'll post a status on Facebook that I think is funny. Someone not cool will like it, and I'll feel like I have to take it down because that makes me not cool by association. Then we have Trump who's saying, yeah, you killed journalists, but you said you like me. Just don't insult me because then that would be really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, anybody who... He's the most flatterable person in the universe.
Yeah.
Completely affects what he thinks about you, whether you like him or not.
The one thing that bugged me about this whole thing, I understand what Trump was saying. He was saying, like, Putin does things to help his country, unlike our president. That's his justification. But I have to remind myself that I work at Fox News, where half of the people here are guys who've been in war zones, whether it's Shep or it's Hemmer or it's Leland or Leventhal. They're not desk jockeys like me. So you got to, like, as a sign of respect to those guys that go out there, you got to say, that's wrong.
Well, wait, hold on, slow down. I'm not defending Putin.
I know.
He hasn't killed American journalists.
I know.
And the truth is, I'm serious. Slow down for a second before you mock me.
I'm not mocking you. I'm laughing.
The world is filled with terrible people.
That is true.
They run almost every country in the world outside of Western Europe.
Yeah.
And so you have to create a hierarchy of concern. And why is Putin at the top of that hierarchy of concern? I'm hardly interested. I think he's a pig, but is he the greatest threat to America? There are people who are so ossified and stuck in 1998 that they imagine, 1988 rather, that they imagine he's our main problem. No, he's actually, in effect, on our side in the struggle that really matters.
I agree with you on that.
What the hell?
Because I'm just saying. No, I'm talking about the journalist. When somebody says they kill journalists, you should say I'm against that.
On another point of fact.
No, but I care about Americans first. I guess I call me a Trump guy.
On another point of fact, then, if we're going to be correcting things here, then of course America doesn't deliberately target innocent people to kill, unlike Putin. So there is that difference, and Trump's comments in that regard were very Glenn Greenwaldian.
Yes, it's the relative.
Got that in there.
It's the relativistic nature of it that's interesting. But I agree with you. Hierarchy, I get it.
Yeah, America.
Better not do that.
Numero uno, baby.
All right. They're wrapping me. Coming up, is closing Gitmo really such a good idea when we're trying to fight terror? President Obama thinks so. Later, Harvard says sorry for handing out placemats loaded with liberal talking points. Way to kill some trees, Harvard.